Hello there, and welcome to the first video of 2020, Chord Mastery. This video goes hand in hand with the major scale mastery playlist, which is linked in the description box below, along with other videos. The main video of which is naming chords and emotional connections. This video, which I'm recording now for you, is a enhancement development on that one. So you can watch that one if you want. But this one I think is a little bit more refined. I'm going to be focusing on a few more philosophical elements for your benefit, and it's going to be a bit more structured, plus the recording quality is a bit better as well, and the sound, etc. So naming chords and emotional connections, have a look at that one, because I'm going to be talking about naming chords, but a bit more detail in this one. Watch that one, it might prepare you for this. And also I did a chord challenge a few years ago, which I think you might want to take on after this. There's a card in the description box. It's a silent video, and I just play, I don't know, some notes. I'm just pressing gently, it's not silence, like this for example. Random notes, and you have to kind of guess what the chord is, you know. Here I'm just playing the notes of A minor 7, you could call it C6. You might find that interesting. The answers I think are in a comment below. So that's a good challenge after this one, to really confirm that you know what they are. So I want to focus on a few elements in this video on naming chords and becoming a chord master. First thing, you have to know your major scales. Chords are based on major scales. They're based on alterations of the 1, 3, 5, 7. First of all, I call these the 4 primary chord types. And then I'm going to talk about chords which exist within the octave. So anything from the root, I'll use the demonstration key of C, but I will go into other keys. So anything that's within the major scale from the root to the major 7, because you can add the 6, you can flatten the 5, you can sharpen the 5. There's a couple of things, you can move the third around. So there's some things within the octave. And then we're going to talk about extensions. And then I'm going to give you, throughout the video, some technical exercises and ideas to master them, as well as away from the piano. And I really hope I don't forget this point. So if I have forgotten this point about away from the piano, maybe I should say it right now. You can do this away from the piano, because this is not necessarily about technical fingering and all that stuff. This is about knowing them, having them internalized, and then not having a problem with them when you're playing repertoire. So the whole point of this mastery of major scales and chords is to help you with your fluency. When you're playing a piece of music, I don't want you to be worrying about where you are because you haven't got your orientation. And I don't want you to also be thinking about inversions, or do I know that inversion? Inversions are not something that you know. They're something, well, they don't exist in the water pianism philosophy, because you know the major scale, you know the note values of the chord, you know the main template, 1, 3, 5, 7, or a modification thereof. And then that note, or those notes, are everywhere. Let me give you one example. I'll take A flat, random note. If I know that the major scale of A flat is this, those notes are everywhere. And one of my favorite exercises is to poke the notes. So I set myself into A flat emotionally, visually, physically. It just feels nice to be in A flat here. It just feels right. I can play it in octaves. It doesn't matter how I play it. It's just, that's A flat. All the other notes disappear. And then you can poke them randomly in different octaves. You can do it with a metronome and try and do 1 per second or 2 per second. Push yourself, and just, I can see A flat. So I'm just going to poke notes of A flat anywhere, because I can only see those notes. It doesn't matter where I am, they're the only notes that I can see, you know, and I can just, so you can do the same thing with the chords. So if you know that, you know the major scale, you know 1, 3, 5 of A flat, C, E flat, you can play those notes anywhere, and the idea of inversions dissipates. See, it doesn't matter. I just see A flat everywhere. It really doesn't matter. You see, and then you can add the major 7, for example, the 7th note of the major scale. 1, 3, 5, 7. So that G is a major 7 in A flat everywhere. So let's just play some notes of A flat major 7. You see, the idea of an inversion has disappeared. It just doesn't matter. I just see A flat major 7. It's these notes. It's these notes. It's these notes. It doesn't matter what inversion you play them in. So try to ignore the idea of inversions and know the major scale and then the note value template of a particular chord, and you're away. And then you'll just be fluent. You can just play anything you want, anywhere. That's one reason I have quite a good fluency, I've been told, because I'm looking at the major scale. I know the note values of the chord type, its template. I just play anything, any chord in any inversion, just doesn't matter. So that's what I want. That's the level I want to help you get to. And a lot of this happens away from the piano through visualization on your internal piano. Poke the notes with your mind's eye. You're in A flat and you see the scale A flat, G, play an E flat. I'm playing the notes of the chord now. I see A flat major scale. Now I'm seeing the A flat major 7 chord, and I can just see the G, E flat, C over there, go up to an E flat, the 5th, down to an A flat, play the G here, play an E flat over there. You know, my eyes are closed. I'm seeing these notes, but while I'm sitting on the bus or something. It's really going to help you. I'm going to use a couple of cliche sentences in here, some of my key catchphrases rather than cliches. If you don't know it in your mind, you can't play it at the piano. Write that down. So let's start in the demonstration key of C. I'll put timestamps. So this is one of the first timestamps of, that's the introduction done, of the structure, which is, so we're going to go C major, and we're going to talk about the 4 primary chord types, then the within octave, and then the extensions, which are outside the octave, and we'll see how it goes. I'll give you some technical exercises. So that's my 7-minute introduction done. Okay, 4 primary chord types. Chords are based on 1, 3, 5, 7. Master key of C, demonstration key I call it because it's the cliche key, but this, you have to do whatever I say in C in all 12 keys, because your major scale mastery will allow you to do that. 1, 3, 5, 7. I have to say again, anything I say, do it away from the piano. Listen to this video with the screen off would be a really good way to take on what I'm saying and practice it. 1, 3, 5, 7. This is a major 7 chord because it's got the 7th of the major scale on top of the triad. There are 2 triads. Major triad, well, there are a few more, but I'll talk about that later. There's the major triad, 1, 3, 5, and there's the minor triad, 1, flat 3, 5. Minor only refers to the 3rd. Sometimes people incorrectly talk about the minor 7, like this, or the minor 5. No, minor only refers to the 3rd. I'm telling you all these little bits as we go along to make your naming of chords easier, because many people use the wrong terms, and I have to fix that in your mind. You can say flat 7, which means flatten the major 7. This is called a dominant 7. Okay. You can say flat 5. This is when you get into the sort of diminished areas. When you flat the 5, or you can sharp the 5. So flat means lower, but you don't say flat 3, you say minor. It has its own word, let's say. So major 7 is the first of the 4 primary chord types. And why they're 4? Because you're modifying the 3rd and the 7th twice. It stays as a major 3rd and a major 7, or they lower, and you get the combinations. So you can move the 7, dominant 7. You can keep the major 7 and lower the 3rd, and you'll get minor major 7. Or you can lower both of them and get minor 7. You just say the number 7 and it means dominant 7. Just say 7 means dominant 7. I guess in the description box below you're going to find that I've written a list of the chord types I discussed in this video with the notes from the major scale of C, the demonstration key, to help you to reinforce this stuff. And also in my podcast collection, I have a whole episode in there on naming chords. So the first thing you want to do is identify 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 1, 3, 5, dominant 7, 1 minor 5, major 7, and 1 minor 5, dominant 7, which is called minor 7 in all 12 keys. Understanding that it's the 3 and 7 which are the most important notes here. They're the ones which are moving. And you get 4 options. That's why they're called the 4 primary chord types. So how do we practice those? Well, I always recommend going around the cycle of fourths. The cycle of fourths means you count up a fourth in the major scale that you are currently in. So C, you're going to go up a fourth to F, and you're going to play the chord types in F. I'll tell you how to play them in just a moment. I'm just showing the cycle of fourths. So you'll play them in F, and then you'll go up a fourth in the key of F, which is B flat, and then you'll play them in B flat. And then you'll go up a fourth in B flat and do it all in E flat, etc. And then A flat and D flat and G flat and B and E and A and D and G and back to C again. So there's a few ways to play a chord. I'm only going to say this once, and then it applies to all the keys and all the chord types, how to play them, how to practice them, at and away from the piano. So you can play them as block chords with either with the left alone, with the right alone, both together, but block, which means you're not playing any of the notes independently from each other. You're just playing the whole chord. So let's do that as a demonstration. I won't do this for every chord type, it's just for now. As a block, major 7. Maybe play it 4 times, or play it how many times you like, but 4 is a kind of a musical number. Dominant 7. Minor 7. Major 7. I also recommend playing it until you feel that you're really playing that chord, because I'm not just playing this theoretically. I'm feeling how a major 7 makes me feel. I mean, I'm acknowledging how it makes me feel. I'm acknowledging how that dominant 7 feels. I'm acknowledging how the minor 7 feels. And I'm acknowledging how the minor major 7 feels. Kind of a startling sound, a scary, sudden sound. So acknowledge how it makes you feel. And you can do this with memories, places, people, adjectives, nouns, memories in your life from different events. They all sound and feel different. So after playing them by block in all the different variations, put a bit of rhythm onto them. You can go around the cycle of fourths only playing one chord type, and challenge yourself. Maybe just play it 2 notes, 2 chords per play a chord for 2 beats. So going around the cycle of fourths, I'll play major 7 like this. D flat, I'm thinking ahead. G flat major 7 up to B, E, A's next, I can already see it. D, I can already see it. G, I can already see it. C, I can already see it. I'm thinking ahead. I have a very important video, Mindfully Mindless. It's called Mindfully Mindless, which makes sense when you watch the video. It's about thinking ahead. So that's one example. Or you can open them. This is when you start to get the technical benefits of chords. Chords are your friend. They're not just a sound and a motion, but they are an opportunity to practice technical exercises. So try an ascending arpeggio, or broken chord technically. And I recommend doing it what's the word? Staccato. So you play it as if the keys are very, very hot. Like this. That's very good as well, because it when you play staccato, you're not relying on it. Actually helps you to not use muscle memory, because there's not enough time for the muscle to remember where to be. Well, there's no muscles in the fingers, but you know what I mean. If you just do it like this, if you're just playing like this all the time, your fingers get lazy, and that's very dangerous. No, you want to play, this is more about the shape and the finger independence than being lazy. Circular fourths. even sounds quite nice, no? And lots of music is written this way. These technical exercises apply to repertoire. That's what you must realize. I'm not just telling you to do these exercises mindlessly. I'm giving you things which apply to repertoire. Very important. So staccato, ascending or descending. You get the idea. You can do it descending, or you can really do a legato even with the pedal if you want to, and practice like this if you want to. It's a bit of a lazy exercise, but it's nice to, if you want to do it. I mean, it can appear in music. It's not maybe as beneficial as the staccato one, but it's quite a nice. It's a nice experience to just to do that on the piano. It's nice, as many octaves as you want, of course. It's just a nice feeling, and of course you can descend on it too. Where am I? B from here. It's just a nice feeling. You know, that kind of Debussy-esque kind of sound, a wavy sound. It's nice, impressionist. So that's, and then of course you can poke the chords like I showed you earlier. Just C major 7. I was doing F, wasn't I? I'll do F major 7. You just poke the notes of the chord at random. Like that. And of course away from the piano, visualize yourself doing that. So that's quite nice. So these are the chords. So one more technical exercise I like to do for precision is to jump with the block chords in a kind of this kind of idea. It's very good for your precision. And of course into this you can blend inversion, so you can do it in different ways. Maybe do it in this way, which I don't really like that position at all. That's a very uncomfortable position for me. Still, it's still possible, I guess. And you can play them as octaves together. This is a nice precision exercise, descending. Your choice. Play around with the chords. Really reinforce how it feels, where the notes are in all the keys. 1, 3, 5, 7 alterations. Major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, minor major 7. That's it. Minor major 7 is the least common of those, but I'm not talking about commonality in this video. Now there's other chords which exist within the octave. This is the second timestamp. These are 6, minor 6, half diminished, half diminished. I'll explain them in a moment. I have to get a new keyboard. Whole diminished, and then we have what's called an augmented or raised fifth. I think I'll use the key of F for the next to explain these to avoid that blasted F sharp. C augmented, raised fifth, sharp 5. You can get a diminished triad, but it's only a triad. It's not necessarily a whole diminished or a half diminished. It's just a triad. You can get the sus4, which means suspended 4. You take the third, you raise a semitone. It's a very popular pop chord. I call it an Elton John chord. sus4, suspended 4. It really wants to resolve. So you can choose to do that or not. sus4, and there's also the lesser common sus2, where you lower the third to the second. It's a bit more kind of ballad, love ballady sort of sound. Whereas a sus4 is a bit more, I don't know, can you find adjectives to describe that? They're just not quite the same. It's very hard to find exactly the words. Experiment, play around. How does it make you feel? So, I think that's all. So, how do we do it? Well, I have another catchphrase for you. When you're trying to play chords, what you must do is remember this. Play what you say, or say what you play. Play what you say what you play. So, it depends. If someone says a chord, you play what you say. So if they say we're in the key of F now. Forget C. I want to avoid that G flat, F sharp. We're in the key of F now. And they say, oh, play F minor 6. And you go, well, I don't know what F minor 6 is. Well, yes, you do. You know the major scale instantly. You know 1, 3, 5, 7 is the master template, let's call it, within the octave and outside. 1, 3, 5, 7. And you know that what they've just said is play a minor 6. So play a minor 6. You know that minor only refers to the third. And they haven't said major 7, so that's not involved. They've said 6. So you play the 6 instead. I'm playing what they said. You play what you say. Play what you say. F minor 6. Now, because you know the major scale, you can play those notes anywhere. You're orientated in the key of F, so you know that F is the root. Every F is 1. You know that the minor is A flat. That's everywhere. You know the 5 is C everywhere. It doesn't matter where you're playing it. And you know that now D is the 6th of F. So it doesn't matter where you play it. So I could, if someone says, all right, play F minor 6, instantly I see it. There's a quick, rapid process. Master scale of F, major scale of F, master key. F is the 1. 3 is lowered instantly. 5 stays the same, and I add the D instead of the major 7 because it's not a 1, 3, 5 chord. Not a 1, 3, 5, 7 chord. It's a 1 minor 5, 6. So it's minor 6. And then I can play it anyway, in any way I want. Let's start with the minor, and let's put the 6 here. Let's put the 1 here and the 5 here. That is still F minor 6. It's first inversion. Well, it's a broken chord really. First inversion C would be here, but I'm starting on the first inversion. But inversions are irrelevant. I shouldn't even be saying that word. This is F minor 6. It could be other things. Doesn't really matter. But it's F minor 6 with an F in the bass to define the key. So poke it around, play around with it. Like I said, I won't do it all, but just again, play the block in different places, do the staccato. Just play around with it, you know? You can see it. Maybe do it in octaves. Poking, but with octaves. With any hand, it just doesn't matter. I have a complete fluency on this only because I can see the major scale of F. Honestly, when I look at a key and I'm playing the piano, the major scale, no matter the chord, no matter the song, no matter anything, the key of the chord is always behind what I'm playing. Always, it's just there. I mean, if I know I have to play something in F minor and there's a 6 in it, it's just there. I just can't play. I can't miss that 6. I don't know why I played a B flat there. I just can't miss that 6. It's just there. Look how I'm playing it here. I'm playing 5, 5, 6 minor. Don't know why, it just happened. My fingers just land on it because they know that, well, my brain knows, so my fingers trust my. If you don't know it in your mind, you can't play it at the piano, remember? So this is a proof I really know this in my mind, and I'd like you to get to that point. Let's take let me just give you some of the combinations actually about the I was going to talk about the sus chord now. I'd like to just say that you can add the 7 to 2 of these chords. The dominant 7. You can add this. It's interesting. When we say 7, we mean dominant 7. If you want the major 7, you really have to say the word major 7 because it means play the 7 from the major scale. So you really have to reinforce that point. So let's go to another key. B flat. Let's jump up a 4th to B flat. I'll go round. Why not? We're in B flat now. Now I instantly feel like I'm in B flat. So now when I see that D as a 6th in the key of F, that's now the 3rd of B flat. It feels like it's in a different place on the piano. It isn't physically, but it feels like it. This is no longer like near the end of a major scale. See, it's quite far from F. It's near the end. It's a 6th. It's a sweet, happy sound. But now when it's the 3rd of B flat, it feels a lot closer and it's a boring note. 3 and the 5 are boring notes. So it doesn't look the same physically to me. It doesn't, of course, sound the same because it's a 3rd, not a 6 anymore. the emotional connection to this note has completely changed, and I now see it as a third, not a sixth. So really, really take a lot of time to get used to this way of thinking, because it's going to help you tremendously. So 3. Talking about the sus here, yeah. So key of B flat, 1, 3, 5. The dominant 7, so B flat 7. B flat major 7. You have to say major to get the major 7, the 7 of the major scale, major, major, major. Or just the number 7, it means dominant 7. It's just quicker than saying dominant 7. Too long. B flat 7. Now you can play the dominant 7 with 2 of the chords, like I said. You can play the dominant 7 with the sus 4, which is when you raise the third a semitone. This sounds nice. It doesn't make anything worse. It almost doesn't really add anything, to be honest. Just makes it a bit softer, perhaps. So it doesn't really change it. It's just a perfectly safe note to play. So you can call that a B flat 7 sus. And the sus always refers to the third going up. You rarely play a sus 2. So when someone says, I'll play a sus chord, 99% of the time it's going to be sus 4. If it's sus 2, they'll specifically say sus 2. So you can also play the dominant 7 with the raised 5th, which is called augmented. One of my favourite chords. So you'd call this augmented 7. Or different ways. You could call it B flat 7 augmented or B flat augmented 7. The point is, maybe it's better to say B flat 7 augmented, because it won't confuse anyone who thinks, what's an augmented 7? You can't. How can you augment a 7? No, it doesn't mean that. Just like minor only refers to the third going down, augmented only refers to the 5 going up. Only. You don't augment any other note. You can't augment a 6th. You don't augment a 2nd. You say sharp for those. Like you say flat 5, or you could say flat 6. You don't say, or you can say flat 7, but it's called dominant 7. You just say augmented, and it only means sharp 5. I'm doing that in the key of C, by the way. In the key of B flat, I should be. So it's F is the 5th. Raise it to the F sharp, the one that works in my case. So B flat. I can see the scale of B flat. It's just there. The whole piano has just become B flat everywhere. 1, 3, 5 are everywhere. D is 3 everywhere. F is 5 everywhere. B flat is 1 everywhere. Raise the 5th to F sharp. It's everywhere. You just can't miss it. Dominant 7 is A flat everywhere. You can't miss these notes. So poke it. B flat augmented 7. 3, 3, 7 augmented 3, root 3. Augmented 7, 3, 7, 3, augmented. Doesn't matter. Inversions don't exist. Of course, you can do that with the sus 4 as well. The B flat 7 sus 4, any key sus 4 with the dominant 7 is nice. So play around with those at your leisure. So we've done diminished next. So there's a naming issue with the diminished chord, and I have to fix it here. So I hope you're still watching. We were in the key of B flat. I'll have to stay in B flat because I have to. If I went up a 4th to E flat, I'd have to use the G flat here. This is a bit too high perhaps, so I'll stay in B flat. B flat major. The triad of a diminished is when you have a minor and a flat 5. So it's not just a minor, and it's obviously not major. It's when the 3 and 5 are both lowered. This is a diminished triad. Like this. You play the minor. I'm trying to find the good fingering. You play the minor, and you flat the 5. Diminished triad. Now, you don't normally just play a diminished triad. There's not really a symbol for a diminished triad. You have to add one of two other notes on top. Now you can see this in different ways. I'll show you the quicker way, which is the major scale way, or you can do it by minors and major intervals. Minor and major intervals, which is just unnecessary because you need to think about everything in major scales. So you've got whole diminished and half diminished, and there's a reason that they're called that. and it's actually based on the whole half, on the interval logic. So let me explain. In the key of B flat, the whole diminished is a whole diminished because it has a whole group, let's say it this way, of minor thirds. Starting on B flat, you go up and you get a minor. On D flat, you go up in its major scale and you get a minor. In other words, we're just getting a minor third. But you could say that in this interval way, which is you got a 1/2 step, 2 half steps, that's a whole, and then another half step. So it's like 1.5 steps. So it's a collection of 1.5 steps. Or you can just say it in the major scale way, which is minor and a flat 5. And then you can either put the next, for the whole diminished, you put the next 1.5 on top, another minor third, which would be G, and then you can't go any further because you'll get back to B flat again, or 1.5, depending on how you want to say it. So the whole diminished with a W, not a H, is a collection, a whole group of minor thirds of 1.5 steps, and it's called a whole diminished. Major scale terms, it's called a minor 6 flat 5, but you don't really call it that, you just call it half diminished. So it's a minor 6 flat 5. That's the result in the key of B flat here. Now the half diminished is called half diminished because you're breaking that whole collection of minor thirds by not playing a minor third on the top part of it. Top part meaning from the root top. You're playing a whole, a third, a major third. Now that note in the key of whatever you're in is a dominant 7. So it's a minor 7 flat 5. So you've got a minor 6 flat 5 or a minor 7 flat 5. The minor 7 flat 5 is a half diminished, and you do see that written. Now the problem is that some people, and I see different versions of this, it's so confusing I can't even tell you what the problem is because it's just got different variations. People really don't understand this, it seems. They say diminished 7. But when they say diminished 7, what they mean is to play a whole diminished, it seems. I mean, it's so confusing. I've tried to understand it, and I've got different angles. But what it seems to be the case is that people incorrectly label a whole diminished as a diminished 7th, because they're implying that the 7, you're playing, what they mean is, it seems, and this is where the confusion lies, is that they're implying, they're using the word diminished because there's a minor and a flat 5, but then they're also implying that the word diminished means lower the dominant 7, like a double flat major 7. A is major 7. It's like saying lower it twice to get that 6, to get that 1.5 step, to get that minor third on top, to complete the whole diminished group. Don't use that terminology, it's ridiculous. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, you just have whole diminished, a collection of minor thirds, or half diminished, where the top one is a major third. And in major scale mastery terms, you're playing a minor 6 flat 5 or a minor 7 flat 5. Or, in the correct terms, you're playing whole diminished or half diminished. So ignore, don't use, challenge anybody to not say diminished 7, because it doesn't really mean anything. It's just a floating name which doesn't really attach anywhere. It may have its reason and its theory. I've read it, I know. You can't tell me anything I haven't already studied about it. I'm just saying that the naming process isn't helpful. Whole diminished, half diminished. Forget the word diminished 7th. It really is ridiculous. Okay, so that's good. So play around with that. How do they make you feel? The whole diminished is a very stable, squishy kind of closed up chord type. But it's stable. The half diminished is not stable. Like that top note wants to fall down and be safer. From a half diminished, dominant 7, whole diminished, to the 6th on top. Play around with that. Now, what you'll notice earlier is that I said that when you've played the last whole minor third, or 1.5 step, if you do another one, you'll get back to the root. That's because there's only 4 notes in a whole diminished. Now here's a little interesting tidbit of information. There are 12 notes in our system. Right? I call it the 12-note block. It starts on C to B. I'll now play the C whole diminished. Minor, flat 5, 6. So it's like a minor 6 with a flat 5. It's called whole diminished, just repeating it again. Now, if I add another minor third, I'll get back to C again. So it's a redundant interval, let's call it. A nice term. Now, there's 12 notes possible to play, and a diminished chord has 4 notes. That means that there must be 3 groups of diminished chords, and there are. You've got and they are interchangeable. This is the magic. They are interchangeable, which also goes hand in hand with that idea of there are no inversions. C whole diminished with a C in the bass. If it's defined by the bass, it's C. But if it's defined in the bass by any of the other notes in that chord, you can play any inversion of this chord because it's the same notes. So if I play an E flat in the bass because it's in the chord, this is now E flat whole diminished, but I'm still playing the same notes, you see? So if I remove the C and really play E flat whole diminished, it's exactly the same notes. If I want to play the F sharp or G flat whole diminished, it's the same notes. You're just playing it with an inversion. If I want to play A whole diminished, remove the G flat, put it on top. In each key, in each of its own keys, it is a minor 6 flat 5, a whole diminished. C minor 6 flat 5, E flat minor 6 flat 5, G flat. I'm just starting with 1, 3, 5, 7. Minor flat 5, 6 on top. You get the same notes every time. A minor flat 5, 6. They are all the same. So you can invert a whole diminished chord, not the half diminished, it doesn't work, but just the whole diminished. The notes are absolutely interchangeable, and that is a nice technical exercise to do. To play each group, and they all feel like they go together, and this is something which is really nice. C, E flat, G flat, or F sharp and A feel like a nice group of diminished chords. So spend a few hours or days getting used to the diminished groups. And then you'll go on to the next one, which is C sharp. So I'll just go directly into it. C sharp is like this, it's a minor here. Here's the flat 5, here's the 6. So E whole diminished, same notes. G whole diminished, same notes. B flat whole diminished, same notes, as I said earlier. So there's another group, and then the next one is one that involves D, F, A flat and B. So D minor, flat 5, 6. There's the D whole diminished. And then you've got F minor, flat 5, 6 on top. Same notes. A flat whole diminished. Put the F on top, same notes. Here's the minor, here's the flat 5, here's the 6. And then on B, I'll put the A flat on top. See, I'm not changing the notes. B minor, flat 5, 6. So there's the other group, D, F, A flat, B. So really try and get those 3 groups together. The C group, let's call it. The C sharp group, let's call it. And then the D group. These are not official terms, I'm just doing it to sort of start chromatically. Nice simple place to begin. C group, C sharp group, D group. And they all go to, they're all interchangeable, but it doesn't work with half diminished. I think I've said everything now about the chords within an octave. 6, minor 6, augmented with a 7, dominant 7 of course, because I didn't say major. You can of course play an augmented with a major 7 if you want. So you'd say C augmented major 7. You play what you say. Bit of a weird sound, but you know, anything's possible. You can just flatten the 5. Sometimes you see, I'll do it up here. You can sometimes just see C or a letter, C, flat 5. And so you just play a flat 5, C, flat 5. We've got the hard half diminished with the dominant 7, with a diminished triad. You've got your whole diminished. You've got your suspended with a dominant 7. You've got a sus2, which is very rare. It's kind of an ending chord, almost religious kind of sounding. I think that's all really for the internal. Now the extensions. So this is the next timestamp, extensions. It's nice to know these, even if you're not interested in jazz theory, because often extensions are directly related to jazz theory and jazz chords and all that fancy stuff, all that nice, all that nice jazzy stuff. But it's nice to know them theoretically, because extensions require a huge hand, a superhuman hand. You are forced to play them without all the notes. So that's the first thing about extensions. You rarely play extensions as a whole chord, because you'd need 5 or 6 fingers, and some of them even 7 fingers, 8 fingers. You could even have a chord with 8 notes if you play them all. Let me play, for example, incorrectly in terms of actual playing, but theoretically correctly. I could play C9, I could play C13, 9/9, sharp 11. It's ridiculous. I can't play that. It's impossible to play that with one hand. Don't even have enough fingers. So you do what's called a voicing. You voice the chord. So the first thing to learn about extensions is that you oftentimes voice them, and that means that you often remove the root, because the bass is playing it, either you or a bass player, or it's implied in the song. Like it won't throw anybody if you don't play the bass, because it just fits in the music. I call that musical context. So you don't play the root often, and you don't need to play the 5. So you're focusing on the 3, which can be major or minor, the 7, which can be major 7 or dominant 7, then the extension, 9, 11, 13. So the next lesson is, why 9, 11, 13? Where do they come from? This is a quite interesting thing, and if you don't know this, it's quite enlightening. If you do, well, just stand by. Key of, let's go to E flat now. Jumping up a 4th from B flat, which we were using earlier. E flat, you can see the scale, I hope. 1, 3, 5, 7. E flat G, B flat D. Now, there are 3 missing notes in any major 7 chord. Major 7 chord is just highlighting 1, 3, 5, 7 of the major scale. Now, there are 3 notes missing. Let me highlight them within the major scale. It's the F, which is the 2, because that's in the scale. The 4, because that's also in the scale, but not in the main chord. And then the 6, which is C in this case. And you go back to the octave, so that doesn't apply. We already have it here on the root. So 1, 3, 5, 7 doesn't have 2, 4, or 6. I'll just do that in the key of C, just to make it a bit clearer. 1, 3, 5, 7. You can see it's missing 2, 4, 6. These notes, I'm going to go back into E flat to push you. 1, 3, 5, 7. This is missing the F from here. The second is here. We're now making extensions. So usually you're used to 8, or major 7 rather than octave, but the 7, the 8 being the limit. But extensions just open the door on that octave and allow you to go, oh, there's a 9, 11 up here, there's 13 up here. It stops at 13. I'll explain why in just a moment. The extensions open that door into the outside octave world and voicings and all that stuff. And it's very fascinating. And it's all based on major scales again. So it's not complicated. It's all major scales. The 2, which was missing from the major scale, is the 9. Because if you count in the major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just keep going, 9. If we keep going, 10 we don't need, because that's the 3rd. 11 we do need because that was missed. 12 we don't need because it's the fifth, it's already in the chord. 13 is the 6, we need that because the 6 was missing because it was only 1, 3, 5 and 7. And we don't need this one because it's major 7, it's already being played. What would that be called? 14, which is very strange. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, yes. You'd call it the 14th, it's not, it's the major 7, it's already being played here. So 2, 4 and 6 are 9, 11, 13. That's a quick kind of cheaty way to find the extensions. I don't recommend it, but it is a quick and cheaty way. So if I say play an extension chord, the next thing to know is that whenever you play an extension, the dominant, this is the most important thing to say, you can voice it or not, this still applies. I mean, you can play all the notes of a chord, or you can play a particular voicing of something, whatever it might be. When you say an extension, 9, 11 or 13, or any modification of those, which I'll explain in a moment, you have to play the dominant 7. It is implied. The dominant 7, key of E flat, so D flat, dominant 7, is the, how can I say it? It's like the pivot chord, something like that, to the extension whirl. Unless you say major. Again, that major implies major 7. That means play a major 7 with the extension. So I'll demonstrate with the 9. 8, 9, 1, 2, 8, 9. F is the 9th of E flat, or the 2nd, but we call it 9. Why? Because we're playing a dominant 7. So 1, 3, 5, and I'm saying play E flat 9. So play what you say. E flat 9. The dominant 7 goes with it. The extensions are friends with that dominant 7 note value in all the keys. So E flat 9, okay, E flat is the triad, 9, play dominant 7 as well, done. Let's go to A flat. Let's play now A flat major 9. A flat major 9, 9, major 7 please, not dominant. Otherwise I would have said A flat 9, which would have been dominant 7. A flat major 9, major 7 with the 9. So that's the main rule, and that applies to 13 and 11. Now, so let me just demonstrate those. So key of E flat still, E flat 13. I'll give you some voicings in a moment. I'm just doing the basic theory here. E flat 13. Okay, 13 is up here. Play dominant 7 with it. You have to. Let's play E flat 11. I'll talk about 11 in a bit more detail, but so it's not going to sound very nice. But E flat 11, it still means play the dominant 7. 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of the missing notes. 2, 4, 6 are the missing notes, which are 9, 11, 13. Bit of a tension-y, not very nice there. So that's it. E flat 11. Or E flat major 11. Not very nice sounds, of course, but that's still a chord. E flat major 11, E flat 11, E flat major 11, E flat 11, dominant 7. You have to drill that into your mind. So that's that, and then I've done it with the 13, E flat major 13, major 7, E flat 13, dominant 7. So I hope that really makes sense. An extension implies dominant 7 unless you say major and then the extension major 9, major 11, major 13, play the major 7. It's that simple. Just even with this, just like with the 4 primary chord types, C minor, major 7. You play it. C augmented, raised 5th, major 7. You have to say the word major to get the major 7, otherwise it's dominant 7. That's an across the board rule. Now you can alternate these extensions. I'll give you the voicings in the end. You can alternate these. So what key are we in? We're in A flat. Let's jump up to D flat now. Is that safe to do? Yes, I don't need to touch my G flat note. So D flat, you can see D flat. You're in the key of D flat. You can see it everywhere. Basically all black notes, but we don't think like that, of course. But it is on the piano. So we're going to play the alterations of the extensions. Now, these don't really happen with the major 7. So a lot of these are with dominant 7s. So D flat, flat 9. I didn't say major, so it's a dominant 7 implied automatically. You don't even need to write it on the score. You just write D flat, bracket, flat 9. Dominant 7 is implied. If you want to put the major 7, you can put either a capital M, or write M-A-J, or put a triangle. For some reason, a triangle has come to mean major 7. So you, in this case, you would put, for example, this isn't really a nice chord, but you would put D flat, triangle, flat 9. So you'd play what you say, or play what you write in this case, D flat major 7, here's the 9, flatten it. So not the nicest sound, but that's what it is, D flat major 7, flat 9. But of course, without the major, you just say D flat, flat 9. Which is actually a nice sound. So practice this. Play around with it and see which chords you like. D flat, flat 9. That's D flat 9. I like the 9. Yeah, that kind of Debussy thing again. Flat 9. See, it's not bad. It sounds like it wants to go somewhere, but gently. I like the flat 9 chord. And normally it will go up a 4th. A flat 9, most of these chords, any dominant 7 chord often wants to go up a 4th. Even with these fancy extensions, it wants to go up a 4th. So that's nice. D flat, flat 9. D flat, flat 9. Dominant 7 implied. Now you can also sharpen a 9. The sharp 9 sounds more blues. It sounds more hard blues. It's not ugly, it's just a hard blues sound. So E flat is the 9, E is the sharp 9. Listen to this. See, it's a little bit grating on the ears, but it's in a kind of happy blues way. See, it's not bad in context. Quite nice, really. It's a blues sound. I'm just playing it chromatically here, but you get the idea. So, dominant 7. So sharp 9 is a hard blues sound, and it doesn't sound bad. So play around with that. Dominant 7. You could play them with the major 7, but it's just not so nice. Some people like it, but you know, there are generally chords which are considered pleasant to the ear. So you could play D flat major 7, so D flat major sharp 9. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but you know, there you go. That's what it is. If you look within the chords, you can start to find interesting connections and reasons why things sound not too bad. For example, with the flat 9, what am I doing here? D flat, flat 9. If I remove the D flat from the bass, we've got F hold diminished, and the diminished chord is a soft chord. That's one reason the flat 9 sounds nice, because 90% of it is a hold diminished, which sounds nice anyway. You see? So there's lots of hidden gems within these chords. And with that major 7 sharp 9, if I remove the D flat from the bass, what do we have? We have a minor major 7. That's one of the 4 primary chord types, which sounds mysterious in the key of F. But when we put a D flat in the bass, it still carries over a little bit, which is now a sharp 9 and a major 7 in the key of D flat. It's still got an element of that seriousness and mysteriousness to it. This is a good way to, it's nice to know this if you want to compose your own music. It's a good way to weave your way through chords. F major 7. Sorry, what am I talking about? F minor major 7. D flat major 7 sharp 9, you know? And it sounds a bit mysterious, but still, because it carries certain elements somehow. It just seems to. There's lots of interconnections. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's go on to the 11 now. Key of, where were we? D flat. I'll stay in D flat. So D flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. F sharp or G flat, so in the key of D flat, so I should label accordingly. G flat is the 11. So we can play D flat 11, and it means play dominant 7. Not so nice. Tensiony. Doesn't, when I say it's not nice, it doesn't mean don't play it. It just means it doesn't sound very nice. D flat major 11. So nice. Now you can't flatten, you can't flat an 11 because it becomes the third. It's already here, the third. So a flat 11 doesn't exist because it's the third. You can, however, sharpen the 11th, and this happens a lot in jazz. And it likes the major 7 and the dominant 7, but major 7 more. Major 7 makes it sound a bit more final. It's a nice kind of chord, but with a dominant 7, I'll do it in the key of E. So 8, 9, 10, 11, that's E, is the 11, but we're going to sharpen it to the A sharp with a dominant 7. Or major 7, so E major sharp 11. Dominant 7, so E sharp 11. So there's a difference between them. The major 7 one sounds a bit more final, perhaps. So what I want to say is that the sharp 11 and the 11 prefer a major third type chord. The 11 prefers a minor. Did I just say that? The 11 prefers a minor, and the sharp 11 prefers a major third chord type. So key of what were we in? D flat. Oh, we're in E actually. So let's go to E. So the minor triad type chord, so E minor 7 for example, prefers an 11. Sounds lovely. It sounds really nice. Just think of all those hard sounds I was just playing with the sharp 11 and all that. Very hard sounds. And if I play the sharp 11 with a minor, it's very tense. It's not very nice. But an 11 with a minor, it just suddenly becomes so nice and gentle. It's nice. Let's move to G now. Can I do G? Yes. So G minor 11. C is the 11. 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4. 8, 9, 10, 11. It's nice. The 11 is not a sus4 because the 3 is already minor. A third can't be in two places at the same time, nor can a fifth. You can't have a flat 5 and a sharp 5. Key of, where were we? G. So G minor 11 is nice. Notice I said G minor 11, dominant 7 implied. G minor major 11. Bit of a weird one. So just experiment. You can even play these extensions with other chord types. So let's just play G minor 6/9. A is 9. It's a nice chord. Minor, the sort of minor 6/9 chord. And it's written like that, 6/9. You don't sharpen a 9 logically with a minor because it gives you the minor 9 onto the key of G here. You can't say G minor 7 sharp 9 or G minor sharp 9 because it just doubles up on the minor. So some of these things just become obvious as you play around, and of course I recommend very much that you play around. So let me now conclude the video slowly with some voicings, the most common ones, and again you can play around and even find your own. The 9th voicing is most often played as using the most important notes, which means not root, not 5. You're going to play 3, 7, meaning dominant 7, 9. But of course you can modify that if you have to. If it says major sharp 9, then fine, play the major 7 and sharpen the 9. But the basic template is 3, 7, 9. So let's take a key of, what key haven't we used? I think we've done all of them, haven't we? F, I'll just use F again. So 3, dominant 7, but I don't need to say the word dominant, 9. G is 9, 1, 2, 8, 9. F in the bass. Now I can flatten the 9, which sounds nice. 3, 7, flat 9. So that's an F7, well, F flat 9. I can sharpen the 9. I can play with the major 7, F major 7 sharp 9, for some odd reason. If it was written, you'd play it. You could play, everything. So I don't want to get, I don't want to play every single chord type. F13. So the voicing for a 13 is 7, 3, 13. And I say 3 because it's easier than saying 10 or something. So 7, key of F, 7, 3, 13 on top. But just say 6. It is a cheat, but it's quicker to, it's nice to remember it. 7, 3, 6. Knowing that this is a 13th voicing and the D on top is the 13, not the 6, because the dominant 7 is involved. If the dominant 7th wasn't, it would be a 6 chord, fine, but it is. So it's implying that the 13 is calling for the dominant 7. You could play major 13, so you play an E instead. E is the major 7 of F. It's all numbers of the major scale. Sounds, you know, quite jazzy. Nothing too weird. When you get into that kind of stuff. Major 13, voicing. 7, 3, 6. 6 being 13. So they're the main voicings, really. So play around with those, definitely. I think I can bring the video to a close now. We've gone on for a decent hour. Unbelievably long, kind of you to watch this far if you have. Hopefully you've got a lot to deal with until the next video you might choose to watch. Major scale mastery, 1, 3, 5, 7, modifications thereof. The extensions are still based on the missing notes of the major scale, 2, 4, 6, 9, 11, 13. You can flat the 9, sharp the 9. You can only sharp the 11. And you can flat the 13. Let me give you one example in the key of C. I'll finish gently on the key of C. C13. A is the 13, or the 6, but 13. Dominant 7 is implied. And we flatten it. This is another nice kind of soft chord sound. Again, it goes up a fourth. All these dominant 7 fancy chords often go up a fourth. The 13 can be flattened. You can't sharpen a 13 because it becomes dominant 7. So it's another redundant alteration. So flat 13. So flat 9, sharp 9, sharp 11, or flat 13. These are the only options you have. The flat 11 would become the third, and the sharp 13 becomes dominant 7, so they're redundant. I would recommend again that you look in the description box and see perhaps the chord challenge. I also have my piano challenge, which goes through a really big group of these chords. It's major 7, dominant 7, this is from memory after 3 years, minor 7, minor major 7, so 4 primary chord types. Then it goes on to the 6, minor 6, and then I think it goes whole diminished, or maybe half diminished, I forget which one, but either way. Half diminished, and then I end it with an augmented 7. Sharp 5, dominant 7. So it's something like that. I think it's half diminished after the minor 6. But whatever, have a look at that video. And you can even add in the suspended if you want to that. You can do it over 2 octaves. Play around, personalize. And so you've got the silent chord challenge, the piano challenge, the other video on naming chords. You may want to watch both of them to reinforce things even further. The major scale mastery playlist. And you should be good to go. Oh, mindfully mindless video about looking ahead. Go around in the cycle of fourths, block chords, staccato, arpeggio, poking with octaves, one hand, two hands. Use a metronome for steadiness if you want to challenge how fast you can do things. And that should be pretty impressive after a few months of practice. As always, likes, comments, subscriptions are always welcome. Have a look at my books, blog, Patreon, podcast, and I will see you in the next video. All the best, and bye for now.